All right, so this is going to be another movie review. This one's called Catch-22, 1970. I'm giving this 2 out of 5 stars. This is going to be another Orson Welles flick. I just liked it. It's supposed to be a funny movie, but I didn't laugh a single time. There is at a fictional Mediterranean base during World War II. Director Mike Nichols and screenwriter Buck Henry, also in the cast, worked on the script for 2 years, converting Heller's complete novel, or a complex novel, I should say, to the medium of film. Um, I didn't know that was possible. Reading a book is takes a lot longer time than watching a movie, but that's just one of the differences. Anyways, the cast included Alan Arkin, Bob Balaban, Martin Balsam, Richard Benjamin, Italian actress Olympia Carlisi, French comedian Marcel Dalio, Art Garfunkel in his acting debut, Jack Gillard, Charles Grodin, Bob Newhart, Anthony Perkins, Austin Pendleton, Paula Prentice, Martin Sheen, John Voight, and Orson Welles. Garfunkel's songwriting partner, Paul Simon, also appeared, but his scenes were cut. All right. Simon and Garfunkel. Production companies, Filmways and Paramount Pictures, distributed by Paramount Pictures. Release date June 24th, 1970. Running time 122 minutes. Country US, language English. A budget of $18 million and a box office of $24.9 million. That sounds like a flop to me. If the marketing budget was in the 6 million range or higher. Captain John Yossarian, a U.S. Army Air Force B-25 bombardier, is stationed on the Mediterranean base on Pianosa during World War II. Along his squadron members, Yossarian is connected to flying dangerous missions. But after watching friends die, he seeks a means of escape. He's trying to go AWOL. While most bomber crews are rotated out of after 25 missions, Yossarian's commanding officer, Colonel Cathcart, keeps raising the minimum number of missions for this base before anyone can reach it. Eventually, to an unobtainable 80 missions, a figure resulting from Cathcart's craving for publicity, primarily mentioned in the nationally syndicated Saturday Evening Post magazine. Futility appealing to Cathcart, Yossarian learns that even a mental breakdown is no release. When Doc Danica explains the Catch-22 the Army Air Force employs, an airman would have to be crazy to fly more missions. And if he were crazy, he wouldn't be unfit to fly. Yet, if an airman were to refuse to fly more missions, this would indicate that he is sane, which would mean that he would be fit to fly the missions. The airman is thus in an impossible damned if you do, damned if you don't situation. Yossarian is haunted in several recurring flashbacks during the film by the bloody death of Snowden, the young turret gunner on his B-25. After Snowden's death, Yossarian temporarily refuses to wear his uniform, which Snowden bled on. He shows up at a metal cemetery naked, and later morosely sits naked in a tree where he is visited by Lieutenant Milo Minderbinder, who rapidly progresses from squadron supply officer to a capitalistic tycoon involved in black market money-making schemes. The bomber squadron is populated by many other comically strange characters. Major, the squadron's operations officer, is promoted to squadron commander without ever having flown a plane, and he refuses to see anyone in his office while he is in, instructing Sergeant Towser that people can see him when he's out. The person has to wait in the waiting room until Major is gone, then can go right in. Okay, there's a photo of a plane crash from the film taken by a person on this set on Wikipedia. Trapped by this convoluted logic, Yossarian watches as individuals in the squadron resort to usual means to cope. Milo concocts elaborate black market schemes while crazed Captain Arfi Aardvark commits murders to silence a girl he has raped. Lieutenant Nately falls for a sex worker. Major Danby delivers goofy pep talks before every bomb run. Captain Orr keeps crashing at sea. Meanwhile, Nurse Dockett occasionally beds Yossarian. Nately dies as a result of an agreement between Milo and the Germans to trading surplus cotton in exchange for the squadron bombing its own base. While on pass, Yossarian shares the news with Nately's romantic partner, who then tries to kill him. Because of Yossarian's constant complaints, Cathcart and Lieutenant Colonel Korn eventually agreed to send him home, promising him a promotion to major and awarding him a medal for fictitiously saving Cathcart's life, the only requirement being that Yossarian agrees to like the colonels and praise them when he gets home. Immediately after agreeing to Cathcart and Korn's plan, Yossarian survives an attempt on his life when stabbed by Nately's partner, who had disguised himself as a janitor. Once recovered, Yossarian learns from Darby and Captain Tapman that Orr's supposed death was a hoax, and that Orr's repeated crash landings have been a subterfuge for practicing and planning his own escape from the madness. Yossarian is informed that Orr ditched the plane and Orr paddled a rescue. He paddled a rescue raft all the way to Sweden, 4,000 miles on his last run. Yossarian decides to abandon the deal with Cathcart. He leaps out the window. Oh, well, I don't want to spoil the ending. Let's just say it wasn't a good ending. Okay, so there's lots of gore and nudity in this, but it's 2 hours long, so whatever whatever good parts are in this are scattered too far and few between, as far as I'm concerned. This movie is 2 hours and 2 minutes. Wow. All right. And I just watched the whole thing without falling asleep. Amazing. Orson Welles first tried to buy the rights to Heller's novel to independently produce and direct in 1962, but Orson Welles was unsuccessful. He wound up cast in the role of General Dreidel. Columbia Pictures purchased the rights to it in 1965, and they attempted to develop the film with Richard Brooks or Richard Quine as potential directors, while Jack Lemmon was considered as Captain Yossarian. Heller grew dissatisfied with the two as he believed they were incapable of pursuing the widely satirical and anti military point of view of this novel. The studio subsequently sold the rights to Martin Ransohoff of Filmways in 1967, which had already hired Mike Nichols to direct. Nichols originally announced that principal photography would begin in late 1967, early 1968 in Yugoslavia and Italy. However, the project was delayed for several years as Nichols and John Calley searched for Italian terrain that had not been destroyed by World War II. Daily Variety in the period 1967 to 69 reported that Andre Previn would score the picture and that Nichols sought to cast Walter Matthau and Al Pacino in the movie, but none of them participated in the picture. Stacy Keach was also cast in the film before departing a month prior to the filming. Nichols eventually decided on Mexico as the primary shooting location. The film production began on January 13th, 1969, at an airfield constructed for the film near Guaymas, Sonora, or on the Gulf of California, Baja California. The filmmakers spent $180,000 building a 5-mile highway to the site, which previously could only be accessed by boat, and an additional $250,000 for a 6,000 feet runway. The airfield today is Guaymas Airport. After a week of filming, Nichols sent back 200 of the U.S. extras in order to give the base in the film a more isolated atmosphere. Welles filmed his cameo appearance as General Dreidel in 8 days. Some filming also took place at the Palazzo Farnese and the Palazzo Navona in Rome. Production concluded in August 1969 after a final 2 months of interior filming in Hollywood. Paul Simon was cast in a part, as was Art Garfunkel, but his partner in the musical group Simon and Garfunkel's part grew while Simon's part was cut from the final film, a move which contributed to the breakup of the duo, according to Garfunkel. We like Garfunkel and Teresa Russell. We like them in Bad Timing from 1980, a film